And so it came to pass that in times gone by the mighty hero Avenger found himself ensnared in the webs of the great spider Nulak. It would not end like this, however, for the pieces were arranged on the board for one final showdown between the representatives of the many gods of Orb themselves. This then shall be the final confrontation, and all hangs in the balance for good or ill. A battle that goes beyond the physical and into the spiritual realm, a harrowing experience from which few shall escape unscathed, and yet one endures, one upon whom our hopes hang. He is Avenger. He is Ninja. I am Ninja. My parents are the heaven and the earth. My home is my body. My power is loyalty. My magic is training. My life and my death is breathing. My body is control. My eyes are the sun and the moon. My ears are sensitivity. My laws are self-protection. My strength is adaptability. My ambition is taking every opportunity with fullness. My friend is my mind. My enemy is carelessness. My protection is right action. My weapons are everything that exists. My strategy is one foot in front of the other. My trust is in quality. My way is the way of the tiger. Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more of The Way of the Tiger. Here we have our lovely map of the City of Ursmancast, Edge, by Leo Hartas, who did a lot of old Fighting Fantasy illustrations and maps back in the day. He did all the Golden Dragon pictures and a few others. I believe these portraits represent the various temples of the gods within the city, although I can't say for certain which would be which. We have an army battling the forces of the Rift here. It's a great place, and you know what? Compared to the map in Book 3, if I can find it again, was it like 260 something, or 180-ish? Yes, there we go. So we have the Temple of Quan surrounded by the park. The green matches up. Barracks over here. Yep. Temple of Nemesis, which for some reason I thought was on this side of the road, near the barracks. The Temple of Dharma. Yep, okay. The Temple of Time. Huge, as it always is. The Avenue of Seasons. With the Square of Seasons, so the Avenue of Seasons is down here. Yeah, that makes sense. And the palace here. Yep, all adds up. And a number of other locations. Temple of the All-Mother, Edgeside, the Cemetery. Hostel from the Edge Inn. Okay. Palace Criers Podium. Okay, yep. From which announcements can be given to the city. Istvestia Street. which sounds like East-West Street. And it does indeed go east and west. A temple to Dio. Okay. I'm sure there's some very pretty rainbows on the walls there. River of Beasts Inn. Now, we've been there before. It's a nice place. This will help us scout out our choices. So we've finally made it back to the city. And I'm going to be honest. The otherworldly section in the spirit realm and the tail end of the underground section felt a bit like padding. They felt like there was a bit more structure to the earlier portion of the adventure. And this is definitely starting to feel like it's stretching a bit now, like the adventure should have almost been over by this point. Let's see how things go. You walk along a rutted road, heading by the green, which is dark and empty at this time, pavilions closed for the night. The mood of the city seems calm, with a little revelry spilling out from a nearby inn. The streets are lit by lamps hanging outside houses, a duty of every citizen after sunset. Unusually, though, you do not see any patrols from the city garrison. That's odd. We could head north to return to our private chambers in the palace, or head east to attend the late-night prayer service at the Temple of Quan to give thanks for our escape from a rift. Well, there's something unusual going on in the city. We had to bluff our way past the gate guards to get in, and disguise our presence. And the guards don't seem to be patrolling the city. And we are a monk, a member of a religious order. Our devotion is to Quan, and to Quan we shall go. You hasten east along the edgeway and then turn into the park, moving closer to the cloistered monastery adjoining a church to Quan the Redeemer lit by torchlight. Edge side, not edgeway. The edgeway's here. No, that makes sense then. Good. A monk nods at you at the monastery gate and opens it to admit you, and you would bask in the familiar feeling of belonging in this temple. The monk begins to watch you closely. He seems somewhat hesitant, but accompanies you to the inner sanctum where the Song of Quan is inscribed in silver on the walls. A group of monks stand awaiting you on the rush matting. You ask to see Grand Master Hengist. He has not yet returned from the Temple of Time, the bald monk you recognize as Ederic says. He has been gone too long. Perhaps you know something of it, although you look like Avenger. Although you look like Avenger, we cannot be too trusting. You heft the sceptre and tell them that you are Avenger, rightful Lord of Erstmanncast, just returned from the rift. The Overlord warned of an impostor's coming, Ederic replies, and today none may leave or enter the palace. It is at this time that you, who look to be the Overlord, appear to us, yet I see Quan's light shine in your eyes. You say that you know Ederic and most of these monks, for you helped to train them in combat. You pointed out a bearded monk that you do not know. I am Zlatok, an itinerant monk visiting to develop my mastery of unarmed combat, the bearded monk speaks out. I have heard Avenger is a master of taijutsu, having defeated Yaemon in combat. If you are indeed Avenger, then convince us. The other monks step to the side as Zlatok adopts a martial stance. You must convince Zlatok of your skill. You set down your sceptre and other encumbering items, and then adopt your own martial stance. This feels entirely unnecessary, and definitely feels like padding. More risk, more opportunities to fail dice rolls. You must pick a move from your available list, such as an Iron Fist punch. Zlatok does not trust you, and your life may be in true peril. Still, as this is a demonstration against a brother monk of Quan, you will not be using inner force. We may punch, kick, or throw. And when we turn to one of these sections, we may be asked about individual moves. Now, it would be tempting, very tempting at this moment, to use the Quan's Flail Kick, the special secret move which is only known to a very, very few existing monks. Unless we taught it to all these people when we trained them. And that upon seeing the move, he would know that we are a true devout worshipper of Quan. However, it is a secret move. Most of the monks of Quan don't know it. And many have never even seen it. So, that feels like a bad move. He might almost denounce us as a fraud. Our kick is our best modifier, however. Why have I... That was healed. That was healed quite early in the adventure by Tafleur, I believe. Tybalt or Tafleur. That was from the injury inflicted by the Spider Queen. So. For a demonstration, I'm kind of feeling the dual nature of a forked lightning kick as a double strike would be a good choice of skill. A throw would be great, but I think I'll start with a kick and go from there. Oh. You step in to execute your chosen kick. Zlatok's defense against the forked lightning kick is a 6. Aha! I see. A 5 against the Quan's Flail Kick, 6 against everything else. Got it. Okay, well, let's kick away then. Our kick modifier is still +2. We definitely kick him. His endurance doesn't matter, so I'm not going to roll damage. We just need to hit him 3 times. Zlatok counterattacks by a left heel roundhouse kick. Our defense against this is 7. Okay, let's roll. A 6. We are not kicked. You know what? Kick, kick, kick. Quan's Flail Kick. Let's show him the true mastery. Bang! 11 plus 2 is 13. We kick him hard. He notices that one. He will attempt to kick us. 7 doesn't beat a defense of 7. It needs to be higher. We'll go for a punch. Ooh, right. The Tiger's Paw Chop. Oh, if we'd gone for the Cobra Strike, his defense would have been even lower. You step in to execute your chosen punch. His defense is 5, so our punch modifier is +1. We successfully strike him a 3rd time. At which point he will hopefully acknowledge our skill. Zlatok holds up a hand, catching his breath and controlling his pain. "Avenger," he declares, bowing. The other monks of Quan in the inner sanctum follow suit. You are treated as an honoured guest, allowed to pray in the small chapel where you bare your soul to Quan in thanks for your survival of the rift. You feel that you are in Quan's gaze and that he is lending you strength. It is the first of many blessings. Many, meaning there are more to follow, not necessarily in this section. You share a meal of bread and fruit with Ederic, Zlatok, and the other monks, and then retire to a monastic cell in which to catch some sleep, and then meditate until dawn, when you feel refreshed in both mind and body. You may also replenish your stock of shuriken back up to 5 if you need to. May also implies that originally this section included some healing and a full restoration of endurance and inner force. However, as that is not listed here, I shall not do so. Shortly after, you are visited by Greystaff of the Temple of Avatar, who has been summoned by the monks. He was quite old, wasn't he? I think. One moment. He believes fully in your identity and is grateful for your return. First, he casts the Hands of Excellent Health spell, restoring your well-being. Given the multitude of ordeals you have recently faced and overcome, you have become battle-hardened even beyond your previous iron toughness. You may increase your current and maximum endurance to 22. For the first time in the entire series. He then performs an exorcism over you to remove the effect of the holy water of Nolak. From his power and gifts of Quan, you may restore your current and maximum inner force to their initial value of 5. Now, I would strongly say that not only would this remove the curse of Nolak from this book, from the effect of the holy water of Nolak, but would also remove the curse of Nolak from book 4, if the player had been suffering it since that point. Our inner force has been restored to full. Greystaff's exorcism may have assisted you in more ways than this. If you have an amulet of Nolak, you discard it and suffer no further effects, for the holy water has supplanted its power and allowed Greystaff to redeem you from its taint. Remove the amulet from your character sheet. Lastly, if you carry a daughter of Nolak, Greystaff will draw it out of you by pouring holy water of Avatar into your head, and then crushing the agonized spider underfoot. Cross this note from your character sheet. Drained, he leaves you be, and advises he will be waiting for you in the inner sanctum along with the demagogue. They bring disturbing news. Do we have a note about a daughter of Nolak? I don't believe we do. I think we managed to avoid them in our final playthrough of Book 6. Nolak's curse is gone. Followed by Foxglove. The daughter of Nolak would be below, followed by Foxglove. And above, accompanied by. Okay. What ill news can they bring? Given someone is warning of the imposter they themselves seem to be. Oh, this is... right. A lengthy section indeed. The demagogue paces back and forth beside Greystaff and turns to you in amazement when he realizes you have entered the inner sanctum. In an instant he is as animated as ever. "It is you, Overlord! You return at a time of terrible danger, just in time to once again be the saviour of the city." You ask him what has happened in your absence. "You returned to the city almost immediately after you left," the demagogue says. "Or at least that is what we were told by all those who witnessed the events. We remembered Gwyneth's proclamation that you were going out to greet your 2 allies from the battle, and so when you returned alone it raised questions. But then you restricted access to the palace, and we could not petition you. The people, in turn, thought you were in mourning for your lost friends. We, however, became convinced that there was someone of your exact likeness on the throne, and we have uncovered that they mean to effect great evil." Has the assassin Mandrake returned from the dead? Because it could be form, right? But it couldn't, because we could have killed him down at... Or maybe Chuchev and Form could have survived the assassination attempt down below anyway, and it could still be him here. Except that whoever has been impersonating me was here while we confronted the Chaos Bringers down in the depths. He is right, Greystaff says somberly. Over the last week, the army has been mobilized. Both the soldiers of Dharma and of Nemesis have been sent to the Rift on the morrow in a punitive strike. Sounds like there's an ambush waiting for them. Or someone's going to attack the city while they are away. If you are not truly in command, then who is, and why? Just these last few days, the city has been warned of a likely impostor returning, so confronting the army directly will do no good. It will be a disaster of the utmost proportions, Overlord, the demagogue wails. With our armies sent to its destruction in the Rift, the city will be defenceless. Greystaff and I both tried to gain admittance to the palace, but have been barred entry by the Shield Maidens of Dharma, no less. You ask why they have not approached Force Lady Gwyneth, your general and military advisor, to stop the army from mobilizing. She too is in the palace, and thus unreachable by us, Greystaff says. Hengist went to secretly petition Solstice at the Temple of Time to join us in making a stand. Oh, that should have been a new paragraph. Hengist went to secretly petition Solstice at the Temple of Time to join us in making a stand, the demagogue says, his voice dropping to a... Right. Hengist went to secretly petition Solstice at the Temple of Time to join us in making a stand, the demagogue says, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial tone as the monks file by outside heading for morning prayer. But he has not returned. We fear that he has met with foul play. Antocitus and his mercenaries have said they will only support us if we can marshal more forces, for they know it will do the city no good to end in a bloodbath. We have had no response to our summons from Lackland in the Temple to Nemesis. The Temple of Time. Wait, what's Lackland doing in the Temple of Nemesis? Wasn't he banished from the city? How did he snake back in there? Or wait, no, is he the one who took over after, the one who would have been general and assassinated us on the battlefield if we'd let him be the only army with us? I have a suspicion now. That is no surprise from those craven cowards, says Greystaff. They are likely behind all of this, Overlord. Even if the people take to the streets, they are no match for the combined forces of Dharma, Nemesis, and the Temple of Time. We need to act to save the city, but the palace is barred to all, and it is said the underground palaces there have been flooded. There is a thief who we have learned may have found a secret way into the palace. We are sending Zlatok to learn more and bring the thief back if necessary, but it will take some time. We still have until tomorrow to stop this madness. Both look to you for leadership. You have many avenues available to you, but only limited time to take action. It is unlikely you can visit all of the city's nerve centers before the day ends. Will you announce that your first course of action will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options? So if we can, with 5 options, we can probably perform at least 2 of them, quite possibly 3. Now, we can visit the Temple to Dharma to personally convince them to stand down the army. Force Lady Gwyneth is honourable, and if we arrive there, if she is in the palace, She's in the palace, right. So, the Shield Maidens of Dharma are honourable, and they are likely to report it to her if we appear there. I'm not saying they will mistrust us, but they too will have been warned of an imposter. And how would we convince them? See Antocitus yourself saying he will bend the knee and fully commit his forces when the rightful Lord of Ersmundcast comes calling. Antocitus is a mercenary, and he wants to see us rally more forces first, so we should not go to him first. Visit the Temple to Time to learn what happened to Grandmaster Hengist, and, if necessary, bring the Temple to heel if it does not help its city. The Temple of Time is going to be a problem, and going there may be a trap. There's been a couple of auto-kills associated with the Temple of Time in the past, and maybe we should not go there. Steal inside the Nest of Evil, the Temple to Nemesis, and force Lackland to support you with your foot on his neck if necessary. Undertake some daytime reconnaissance on the palace to see what forces you may face. Oh. Of all these people, the Shield Maidens of Dharma are the most likely to be honourable and support us if they are not immediately hostile. So I shall risk visiting them. I think I really should go to the Temple of Time, but I also feel that that is the worst possible decision I could make in this situation. So, the Temple of Time can stop time. They can put people in suspended animation. They can speed up time for an individual. And they have an awareness of time. They know the past and the future. They are ridiculously powerful. They only very briefly helped us once to overthrow the usurper, but they were perfectly happy to support the usurper, who gave them big tax breaks, and they've been against us ever since. That feels like such a trap. So we will go visit the Shield Maidens of Dharma and hope they do not act dishonourably, and at least give us a chance. Okay, a couple of pages this way. You leave the temple to Quan dressed as a monk, your emerald eye hidden by a head bandage as if you have sustained a wound in combat practice. You tread to the nearby temple to Dharma, a long cross street, and soon find yourself before the fortification of grey stone before the fortification of grey stone that looks part fort, part pyramid temple. You are met at the gateway by two swordswomen, and you say that you represent the temple to Quan and ask to see Force Lady Gwyneth on a matter of urgent business. Now, we know she is not in here, but they have no reason to know what we don't know, and it would be more reasonable for us to believe she was within these walls. "Begone," the warrior woman guard responds. "The Force Lady attends to urgent matters in the palace, and we are mobilizing for our march on the morrow to the rift itself." You ask who is in charge of the temple in the Force Lady's absence, but they slam the gate closed. It seems they will only listen to Force Lady Gwyneth herself. You must reconsider your options. Note that visiting the Temple to Dharma does not yet count as an action undertaken today, as it took so little time. We can sneak into the Temple to Dharma and seek someone in charge, which would definitely make it count as an action. Visit Antocitus to try and get him to fully commit his forces. Go to the Temple of Time, Temple of Nemesis. If we try to sneak into the Temple to Dharma and they catch us, they will not take kindly to our intrusion and will be unlikely to trust us. However, let's think about this for a moment. Whoever's in charge will be waiting for orders from Force Lady Gwyneth. They have been our most trustworthy allies. But they are martial, and it is possible to antagonize them and mess things up, and they do take quite strongly to... Oh, if it doesn't count as an action, can I come back here and make up my mind later? I think I need to go to the Temple of Time, and I really don't want to. I shall try and sneak in here, and I hope it doesn't get me in too much trouble. You find a quiet section of the wall and vault up, running along it. You have found your way into all manner of armed encampments in your time, but none whose guards are as superbly organized as this. You make it as far as the keep before you are spotted and hunted down by the armored warriors. You show your scepter and emerald eye, announcing your identity, and you are held in a cell until your identity can be verified. We do not have a statuette of the goddess Dharma, do we? If we do, would they believe we've stolen it? One moment. Small statue of Dharma. We do. Okay then. Something the imposter may not have upon their person. Now that came back to pay off from some time in the past. Presumably when Force Lady Gwyneth pledged her loyalty to us in Book 4. Or 3 even. After a period, you recall the small statuette of Dharma given to you as a token of support. Seeing the statuette, the shield maidens reluctantly agree to let you go free, though they will not countermand their orders. Their loyalty to Force Lady Gwyneth is greater than that to you, and the Force Lady ordered them to prepare their troops and admit none to the temple. You must leave. So we've been caught. We got away with it. They're not going to help us. Oh, it's going to be a problem. I should have probably just scouted out the palace or gone to the Temple of Time. If you're returning from your second expedition, since you had conference with the Demagogue and Greystaff, then perhaps Zlatok will have returned with the thief. Otherwise, your expedition has brought you to the afternoon, and you return to the Temple of Quan to grab a hasty meal of porridge and consider your options. You are advised by one of the monks that Zlatok has not yet returned with the thief, who may know a secret way to infiltrate the palace. You are also counselled that the temple to Dharma is said to be closed to all as final preparations are take place for them to lead the army of Erstman Cast to the rift, and it will avail you none to go there. I just did. You may only undertake a course of action that you have not already tried. Oh, is the Temple of Time a straight auto kill just for going there? I don't know. I'm gonna go with my... I haven't managed to get the Shield Maidens of Dharma to help, so going to Antocitus isn't going to help either. Temple of Time it is then, I believe. Oh... Please don't be too bad. You dress like a peasant to blend in on the streets and head along the Avenue of Seasons until you reach the Temple of Time. Its silver dome rises into a spire which acts as a sundial on a square. The front is marked with symbols representing a growing flower. You loiter at the closed temple gate, reading the words set above it. Time, the Snow Father, eldest father, youngest son, from whose touch none is immune, without whom we would neither be nor die. The sages in grey guilds on the moor say that time is the most powerful of the gods, but you have seen no evidence of that power being used to help Earthmancast. The temple to time did nothing to help you overthrow the usurper, nor did it help force Lady Gwyneth against the forces of the Rift when they overran the city. A scribe hastens out, asking if you have business with the temple. We could reveal the sceptre and the orb and command him to take us at once to the High Priest's solstice. That's probably a really bad idea. Or knock him out with a cobra strike, change into his clothes and sneak inside. That is the course of action we shall attempt. Sorry, scribe, it's nothing personal. You kind of brought this on yourself. You send the scribe unconscious with a single strike to the back of his head and drag him over to the gate, where you quickly change into his clothes and head into the cool shade of the temple. You walk along the marble floor, past a couple of priests of time in grey robes with white belts, who are managing in measured theological conversation. You slip away from the worship hall and pass through a doorway covered by silver beads and find yourself in a peculiar corridor. Through the middle of it swing 3 giant razor-sharp pendulums, one behind the other, each disappearing into a slit on either side of the narrow corridor. They swing anachronistically, with a space between each one where a person could pause before passing the next. So anachronistically meaning they're all going at different timings, so they're not going at the same speed. From watching the pattern of swings, you judge that it should not be too difficult to make your way past, provided you are careful. We do have the skill of picking locks, detecting and disarming traps, which seems to be invaluable in this situation. Oh. You feel along the wall until you find the hidden compartment that houses the mechanism that causes the large pendulums to swing. You deactivate the pendulums and their momentum continues on a moment before they gradually come to rest. You continue on, and anyone who can't hear the pendulums anymore will know they are no longer swinging. So we've made it through safely, but not as sneakily as we may have hoped, unless we can activate them from the other side as well. With the corridor of pendulums behind you, you pass through a frosted crystal door and into a corridor which contains doorways leading to the private chambers of the High Priests of Time. Ooh. All is quiet in this part of the temple, and you consider that the priests may be in communion. You pad on, opening the doors just a crack for any sign of Hengist. It is only when you come to a large room marked by the sign of the silver hourglass that you find what you are looking for. The room itself contains a table with various scientific apparatus beneath a massive glowing hourglass, through which sand trickles without ever seeming to add to the pile at the bottom half. The shelves on the walls are crammed with rows upon rows of books illuminated by the ghostly white glow from the hourglass. In a wooden chamber... In a wooden chair by the table slumps Hengist, his hand covering a wound in his side where his brown robes are stained red. His eyes are open and his expression is frozen in pain and surprise. He seems to be in some form of suspended animation. We could break the hourglass in the hope of ending the enchantment, which may cause him to perish. Quickly check the books for any clue. Do not seek to break the enchantment, but instead carry Hengist from the temple as he is. I'm not sure that will help. Leave things there as they are and leave the temple alone. With or without the skill of picking locks, detecting and disarming traps. Why is this picture here? 79. Okay. Not section 80. If we... Okay, yeah, that's back in the spirit realm. I will check the books and hope he doesn't emerge from his frozen state. The books seem preoccupied with the history of orb and treatises on time, and even a few books about prophecies. You quickly leaf through various books to see if they will be of any help. On flipping through one series of ruminations, you read the following. Many sages have ascribed time to the worship of the present, and fate to the worship of the future, for we all live in time, the eternal now, and this is what time has power over. Yet through time our fate is made manifest, becoming our eternal now at the point of our destiny, and fate intersects with the eternal now at critical junctures in one's life. One thing we can know for certain is that fate cannot exist without time, and time is meaningless without fate. You learn little of use that can help Hengist. However, you may add +1 to your fate modifier for your growing understanding of the concepts of time and fate. Return to 80 and make another choice. So our fate modifier is now +2, meaning we are fortunate on a 5+. That may be very relevant in the near future. Now, back to section 80. So, he has been wounded and has possibly cast this spell to prolong his existence. Oh, wait! No! Hengist is the priest of... He's not the priest of time, he's the priest of Quan. So, if we break the hourglass to allow his time to continue, that would be one thing. He was here. Wooden chair by the table. Shows one's going So was he sitting here reading the books? The priests probably used the power of time to wound him. If we carry him out of the temple, he may remain frozen in time, or moving him far away enough from the hourglass would take him out of the area of the spell. However, the area of the spell is affecting him, it's not affecting the whole room. We were able to turn the pages of the books, and we have been able to take actions ourselves. So carrying him away, I don't think is going to release him. I think we have to be overly dramatic and shatter the hourglass. So I'm going to do that. Maybe if we drag him away, then he'll recover more slowly and be able to speak to us before he dies. But oh, for fuck's sake, it's an auto kill. Yeah, okay. You deliver an iron fist punch to the glowing hourglass, and the sand from it pours out and over your feet. You start to turn back to see if Hengist has been freed from any enchantment, but it takes an age for you to turn towards him. He still seems to be frozen in time, and as the last of the hourglass spills out onto the floor, so are you. Solstice is not quick to forgive this act of vandalism in the Temple to Time, and the army of the city rides out to the rift at daybreak. Without an army, your city is lost to the counterattack from the rift, and when you are unstuck from time, your death follows swiftly. Well, that's a bugger, isn't it? And we're so close to the end, too. You know what? I did have my doubts. We should not commit acts of desecration. This is turning into a slightly Right, that is a lot of book to replay. And again, I'm likely to just end up in the same place. Same situation. So, fuck it. Yeah, drag him out then. Seems to be our only option. Well, no, the other option is to leave him here and leave. But realistically, this is not going to free him from the spell. Because this is... No. New author, so not strictly old AD&D rules. Let's see. You ease Grandmaster Hengist onto your back and make your way back out of the room. Seems the power of time may be on our side for once, for the second time in the entire bloody series after all. We do have the skill of picking locks, detecting and disarming traps, so the trap is already disarmed and we don't have to get through the pendulums with him. I wish I could say I was just looking at the pendulum section as a what if, but at this point, stuff it, you know. Sorry, look, this is already much later in the week than I would have liked to record this episode. You hasten along the corridor of still pendulums. It is not long before you are back outside in the bright sunshine, garnering curious stares as you carry the Grandmaster of the Temple of Quan along the street. Then you feel Hengist start to stir. Whatever spell held him seems to be starting to wear off. However, you fear that his wound will finish him when it does. You break into a lung-bursting run with him on your back, pushing yourself to your limits to get to the Temple of Quan, but another idea strikes you as you race past the palace, Criers' podium, onto Cross Street. The temple to Avatar is closer. The healers of Avatar recognize you and Hengist and usher you inside. You wait while the healers tend to Hengist on the white marble floor, casting spells of healing and working to stem the wound. You wait until you are sure Hengist is stable. The healers still have much to do, but one emerges with a small golden hourglass that Hengist had on his person. In his weakened state, it was all he could do to ask it could be passed on to you in thanks. Note on your character sheet that you have a golden hourglass. You may also restore up to 10 lost endurance of the temple, and you may also restore any lost inner force due to your devotion in rescuing a Grand Master of Quan. No restoration necessary. I'm now wondering if the silver gauntlet for our good friend Dore Lejeune will actually just stop someone saying that can't be him, his hand's missing, and it will just look like he's got 2 hands. It was an important thing to note down, and it hasn't yet come back into play. I'm waiting to see how it does. You leave the temple with the intent to stop briefly by the Temple of Quan and tell them the news of their Grand Master. Hengist will not be able to be brought to his temple, or to assist in the cause until he has recovered. It is time to plan your next move, and we don't know what he was doing, but we have retrieved him. The golden hourglass shows that we have rescued him. It might yet come in useful for something else. We are returning from our second expedition. Therefore, you return to the Temple to Quan again. It is late afternoon, and the sun blazes lower in the sky. As you approach through the park, you see the agitated figure of the demagogue waiting for you, wringing his hands by the gate. He rushes over. "Overlord, one of my most trusted people has brought me terrible news. Doré Lejeune has been arrested at the palace, trying to force an entry to see you. They mean to execute him tonight." You can barely believe the paladin has survived the depths of the rift, only to be sentenced to death here in your own city. If he's wearing the silver gauntlet, and they bind his wrists, he can just take the gauntlet off. Right? So maybe that's an advantage. "We must hurry," the demagogue continues. "Zlatok has found the thief who will help you into the palace." You follow him inside. Oh, this is the mystery Xaki woman that the picture's been for ages. The who the bleep is this person picture that I've been aware of in the book. Okay, sure. You and the demagogue hasten into the inner sanctum of the Temple of Quan, where Greystaff awaits you with a young woman. She is clothed in loose-fitting apparel the colour of russet, and beneath her auburn hair is a silver headband tied with a blue ribbon. On her back she wears a thin, short sword. "This is Xaki, Overlord," the Greystaff says, "the thief who made it into the palace." Her eyes flash. "I am no thief. I am a daughter of a lawmaster of Serakub." Your questioning look is answered by the demagogue. "She claims to be your cousin, Overlord, the daughter of your father's brother." "I am your cousin. I sought you out when I heard of your success at stabilizing the city. I found an inhospitable welcome at the palace, and so I sought a way in, known only to the blood of our family." One that I may know of then, possibly. "You say that introductions will have to wait, since you mean to make your move on the palace at once, before any misfortune befalls Doré. If you have acquired any allies in your preparations..." Nope. "You dispatch monks of Quan to tell them, and you will be on the move immediately." Bugger. We may have a lack of allies. If you are injured, you can ask Greystaff to cast a spell of healing. Although still drained from his earlier ministrations of you this morning, he can restore up to 5 lost endurance, but he does not need to. When ready, you ask Xaki to explain her secrets. "My father worshipped Quan," she says, "and it was he who taught me the secret way entrusted to him. My mother, though, instructed me in the ways of Beatan the Free. I am skilled at getting into and out of places, but I am no thief. More of a wanderer, perhaps." You ask her what she knows of the palace. "I will not tell you, but I can show you if you come with me to the palace roof, as only a true heir of the Seged bloodline can open the secret entrance. I have to know for myself if you are indeed the true overlord of Ersmancast or an impostor. Let us hope that she is not an impostor. Let us also hope our lack of allies does not spell our doom." Otherwise there may be some significant replaying involved. You bid Greystaff and the demagogue farewell and step out onto the city's streets with Xaki. It is approaching dusk, and the sky is permeated with the radiance of the setting sun casting long shadows. You walk to Palace Road, and then behind a closed market stall you change into your ninja costume, the scepter strapped to your back, ready to reclaim your throne. "We must climb the wall beside the donjon," Xaki says. "Then I can show you the secret way in. We have to wait until nightfall. There are too many sets of eyes upon us in daylight." You respond that you cannot wait until nightfall in case they decide to execute Doré. The soldiers of Dharma guard the gates of the palace with their customary diligence. On the walls are some troops of Nemesis. We do not have the support of Antocidas. We are not carrying a blood-stained diary. We do not have a charcoal map. We are well and truly fucked, aren't we? You set fire to a market stall upwind of the palace and watch as smoke drifts to obscure the view of the guards. On your cue, Saki sends her grappling hook up to the castle wall. You climb first and she follows. The guards and patrols have been reinforced if expecting a ninja incursion, though it will be difficult in light of the sunset. You must make a fate roll, but with a -2 penalty, which means our +2 fate modifier, our extra +1 fate modifier we received, has essentially been nullified. A double one. Okay. How dead and restarting are we? You are spotted as you make it to the battlements, and the forces of Nemesis swarm over you whilst Saki flees for her life. You slide down the rope after her, but a crossbow bolt hits you in the leg, and the skill of arrow block cutting does not exist at the moment, and you cannot outrun the patrol of Dharma that comes out to arrest you. You are imprisoned in the windowless tower donjon and must wait for your audience with the supposed overlord. Unfortunately for you, the audience does not come, and you are left chained here without food or water until you starve to death, a prisoner in your own palace. Well, bugger. So, I will reset the fate modifier to... You know what, fuck it, no, hang on. 343. We have an essential hard reset after the fight with Zlatok, right? So I'll go back to that point for the next episode. But bugger, I was really hoping to finish that today. So 343, 363... just 168. Any option will do, you know, that's not a throw. Picture for Zlatok. Okay. Success 220. So at section 220, we have our hard reset, right? So I'm going to write that in here. No, I'm going to go a step further. Okay. 253. We'll go to the Temple of Time first. Carry Hengist away. 320. Read the books. Gain the +1 fate modifier. 326. $135. Golden Hourglass may be important later on, but at least it's a tracker that we've rescued him. 381. This is our first time back, and we will need to try to... I suspect the Bloodstained Journal will be obtained from the Temple of Nemesis. So this is our first mission complete at section 381. Fuck off. I scrolled down. Been to the temple. So I suspect going to Antocitus. Okay, so we can go to Antocitus or the Temple of Nemesis. Antocitus we can therefore somehow gain the support of the mercenaries. Is probably not a very honourable thing. They'll probably have demands of us. That can help us through the main gate. But Saki wants to get to the roof. So if we have the Bloodstained Journal from a Temple of Nemesis, that might mean the soldiers of Nemesis patrolling the walls are worried and concerned and distracted by whatever's happened in the Temple of Nemesis. And we have our proof of Lackland's betrayal or something. But I reckon I'm going to end the episode here and continue next time. Possibly sooner rather than later. I've had an awkward week, and it's going to be a bit difficult next week as well. Let's see. So next week, Lone Wolf Wednesday will be on Tuesday next week instead of Wednesday, for reasons which will become apparent when we get to Wednesday. It will also be tomorrow instead of today, this week. And I really need that stretch. Sorry, it's early in the morning. And I think I want to try and finish this book before Wednesday next week. For now, though, I need to rest, and the episode length is quite long enough. So I'll see you all next time. I'll say goodbye for now, though, and cheerio, everyone. Hopefully better luck next time, eh?